This is live at local morning radio, coming to you from the studios of Magic Broadcasting on Laird. This is the Kramer Show. This is the Kramer Show. The phone is now open, and the phone operators are standing by. Turn down your radio when you call. Pay attention and be ready to go. 850-233-9988.
Let's do a show! Let's do a show right now. What are we doing?
This is Kramer.
We are delighted to have Scott Major on. Scott Major of Major Paruas and the Storm Help Team. His website, stormhelpteam.org. Good morning, sir, and how are you?
How you doing today, pal?
I'm excellent. How are you? Is everything good? Copacetic? If we had donuts and coffee already this morning, are we ready? We're being shot out of the gate like a cannon?
We have, and we are armed and ready.
Listen, a while ago, I got a phone call from a guy, and he was telling us his story, and I said, gosh, you got to call Scott Major, and I gave him your phone number. So at some point, he should be calling you today. I told him if he's going to be around the radio at 7 to call back and go on the air, but I'm going to ask his question to you and get your answer on the air. So this may be him now calling in. Now, he called and said that he was having an issue. He rents a home, and the storm came, totaled it. Okay, is this Michael, Rachel? This is. Okay, I'm gonna get him to tell you his story. Michael, you're up with Scott Major. Good morning, and go ahead, sir.
Good morning, and I'll try not to hit all the buttons on the phone again.
Fat face.
We were renting a place over in Highland Park, a duplex, when the hurricane hit. And it's going through a local property management company, and I don't know if you want me to call the name. I don't have a problem with it, but when the hurricane hit, it blew the door in, and from 1:30 to 3:30, I stood there with my back to the door holding it so that the roof wouldn't collapse. Of course, you had flooding and everything else. I had FEMA come out and inspect the property, and they declared it uninhabitable. I had to rip carpet out because of all the water damage and what have you. And, of course, we moved, the 14th of November into a different place and turned the keys in, everything else. And when I go to get my deposit, it's been one excuse after another, and then I get a certified letter from them, and instead of them giving me my $550 deposit, now they want $955 for damages, such as replacing the door, trash haul-off, which, oh, by the way, the dumpster was blown away during the storm, so there was no place for trash. Carpet cleaning, even though I ripped carpet out. Different things like that.
Well, a couple of things. First, the Florida statutes provide for specific rights of a renter. Chapter 83 of the Florida statutes provides that, you have a right to receive a notice of what they're charging you for, how they're going to impact your security deposit. And then if, in fact, you don't agree, you have a right to challenge that. In other words, under 83.49, they're required to, give you notice, and then you're entitled to object. If you object within 15 days, right, then they have no option but to either proceed to court or to refund your money. They can't keep your money. And right. Unfortunately, sometimes this happens, but that's not only an improper withholding of your deposit, it's probably what's called civil theft in Florida, which can subject them to 3 times the amount of damages for wrongfully taking your money without cause. Now, I'm not 100% sure why the landlord isn't just making an insurance claim, because that's a relatively easy insurance claim to pay for whatever damages are associated with that.
Right.
And so, in my opinion, what you should do is either, number one, engage your local lawyer to help you with return of the deposit, or write a demand letter to them telling them that they're wrongfully taking your money, or otherwise contact us and then have us help you to give you some advice on the proper things to do when a landlord refuses to return your money under 83.48 of Florida statutes.
Okay. That's what I will do then.
Sure.
I hope you have a great day, and good luck to you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Michael. 850-233-9988. Are there? I mean, I don't know how many calls you get. I would assume more of your calls are based solely on insurance and problems on that front. But I'm so curious as to how many people that were renting homes or apartments or something like that are having to deal with those issues. We haven't really had a whole lot of phone calls on that front, but I do know that there are a lot of people in the area that rent. So I'm sure that those issues are happening.
It's not sure, Kramer. It's not common for landlords who have insurance to want to take somebody's deposit. As a matter of fact, it's even a stronger argument for a landlord to say, hey, there were damages. I had to return the security deposit because they didn't cause the damages, and so you need to pay. So the irony of the idiocy of this particular landlord is that unless they have some justifiable ground that's not related to a storm condition, like truly damage to the property, it's far better to return it and say to the insurance company, well, we don't have another remedy because the storm created this, and therefore insurance is covering it. So, I have to learn more facts about the case, but it seems a bit silly. But we do get, as a result of the radio show, we do get hundreds of calls of people just asking for information or trying to compare where they're at, or asking, hey, what do I do about getting my claim reopened? Or I've got problems in that I have either a public adjuster or I have a condominium association. We don't know what to do. I don't know how many calls we get from condos where they just don't have a process in place. Maybe they hired a public adjuster, or maybe they didn't, and they just don't have a good understanding of what authorization they have to make repairs, what kind of repairs to make, what kind of meetings do they have, how do they control the rebuild process, because most people aren't general contractors who sit on board, so they don't know. They hire a restoration or a general contractor. How long is it going to take to rebuild? How do they control that? What does that contract look like? Do they have sufficient penalties in place for the contractor? Are they interacting with the insurance company on a regular basis? So there are regular payments made pursuant to partial releases of liens that are handed from the contractor to the association. Who's running that operation? So there's a lot of complications that go into the rebuilding process, even in fact if you do get money, or if somebody's taking an assignment of benefits and waiting for the money. So there's a lot of issues that go beyond what you and I just spoke about in terms of just, can I get my money, that require some professional assistance, in my opinion.
Oh gosh, I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I think we had a call the other day that said that somebody had a contractor had put a lien on the guy's house. And, now you're getting tangled up in the legal processes, because all you want in the beginning was to, get somebody to repair the house. And now you got to go down that route. But look, if you're a listener, don't be intimidated by that process. Scott Major has outlined many times in the show why it shouldn't be as intimidating as a lot of people make it out to be. Let's go to Larry. Larry, you're up with Scott Major. Go ahead.
How you doing, bud?
Great. About you.
Let me ask you a question. When this is sort of all over, does the public adjuster give you a quick claim date, or would it be wise to get a quick claim date that he has no more claim toward you?
Okay, so if you're working with a public adjuster or other representative, and you no longer want to work with them, or they've completed their work, you need to take.
So you've been paid, so everybody's happy, but I don't want them coming back later saying, I have some kind of claim against it.
Sure. I mean, you wouldn't use the phrase quick claim deed. It'd be better for you to just get either a release or some confirmation in writing that the public adjuster has no further, claims against you, or agrees that they've been fully paid under the contract. You don't have to have anything formal, but it's nice to have something that says if you don't have something in writing, to write them in. Dear public adjuster, it was a pleasure working with you. Thank you for getting me the money, and you have no further responsibility on this case. If you feel that you have any further obligations or you feel that you're entitled to anything, please write me immediately. And then you have something in writing that shows that the individual is no longer seeking any further remuneration. Because you may want to go in the future and have additional claims, or maybe you find that there's other damages. So it's always good, step one, to get a release, great. If not, step two is to confirm in writing in a pleasant way that if they have any other ideas or thoughts that they think they're entitled to any additional monies, they should write you, within 3 business days. Love and kisses you. And I think that if you do that, you'll find you'll have a little bit of peace of mind.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure. Have a great day, pal.
All right, Scott, should we open up the phones for T-shirts today? Scott, as you just heard him say, love and kisses you. And we've talked about the T-shirts that, he's having printed up. And I just think it's so funny and such a great idea. So we could do that today if you wanted.
Whatever makes you happiest, my friend. We're here to serve.
Okay. So if you call up and you get on the air and you have a legitimate a question for Scott Major, we will throw in a Randy Dandy T-shirt. Let's see. Did we get? Have you sent them yet, or are they en route?
I think they are set to be shipped, I believe, on Friday.
Okay.
I believe tomorrow.
Okay,
but I'll have a verified date for you probably this afternoon.
Okay, so we'll have them. We'll have them next week. Right. So if you get on the air, sorry,
they're printed. We're just waiting for them to package them up and send them to you.
All right, 850-233-9988, 850-233-9988. You get on the air and ask a legitimate question for Scott Major, and we'll throw in a T-shirt. So here we are, coming up on we're 3 days away from the 4-month mark. Where are we now in the process? People have gotten a check, I'm assuming, and most people are saying, hey, this is not enough. And so is that where we are, or are we a little further?
Sure. There's a couple of answers to that question. The first answer is some people, amazingly enough, are still waiting on the insurance company to pay under the estimate that the insurance company field adjusters provided, so they still don't even have their own estimate. And I would urge those people to immediately get your own estimate. And if you need to have an estimate done, just call the 844-800-LAWS. We have people up there in Panama City and in the neighboring areas and in Bay County that can go over there and do an estimate for you and then ask the insurance company for money. There are some people that have not asked the insurance company even to pay their money. That is, the money that the insurance company says is due. And the third component is there are a great deal of people that are now realizing that the insurance company has either closed the claim, denied your claim in whole or part, or is waiting for information. We have a claim right now where they have been waiting for quite some time, thinking that the claim is ready to be paid, and the insurance company actually wrote a letter, which no one read, that said, we need this additional documentation before we can even consider how much we're going to pay you. So the important thing right now is most people are finding that they aren't getting paid their full amount. Maybe they went to a public adjuster and got some money. But the most important thing for all of you that are listening is to be able to tell me with certainty exactly what the status of your claim is. Do you know, listeners, exactly what your claim status is? In other words, are they about to issue a check? Are they waiting on a specific document? Are they going to complete an inspection by a certain time? Have they promised to pay you within a date certain? If you don't know the answers to those questions, you need to get the answers to those questions, whether you're talking to your public adjuster or local representative or your vendor who's working on it. What is the status of my claim? What is the last time you have spoken to the adjuster, and what did they say to you? And unless somebody is working with you to prepare documents and you're just waiting on some additional estimates, you should know that status, because as you and I spoke about, there are articles being written that 80% of the claims are closed or are completed, and we know that that is not necessarily an accurate depiction of total payment of claims. So I think you're going to find that. You're also going to find people who are beginning to get frustrated because they're not getting all their money, Or maybe they hired an able and capable public adjuster, and they didn't get all the money that they needed. And so now they need to escalate it to a legal step. I tell people all the time, get a lawyer involved as soon as possible, whether it's me or somebody else, because there's all kinds of angles, and you may even be able to recover your public adjuster fees, which you otherwise wouldn't recover without having a lawyer involved. So there's a lot of good reasons why you need to get going, but nobody at this point should be saying, I don't know where my claim is. I have no idea, how it's progressing, and I don't know whether or not the insurance company, has even completed their estimate. You need to get intelligence so that you're taking charge of your claim. Does that make sense?
It does. Now, we're going to take a break. We got phones loaded up. So 850-233-9988. As they come in, we'll get your phone calls, put you on the air, and let you ask Scott Major from Major Paruas and the Storm Help Team a question. Back in just a second. Stand by.
This is the Kramer Show, giving you information you can use during the recovery process of Hurricane Michael. More is coming next on NewsTalk at 101.
Yes, all the questions everybody wants to know.
We're here. Call us 850-233-9988. This is the Kramer Show on NewsTalk at 101.
Back with Scott Major. Scott Major of Major Paruas and the Storm Help Team. The website, stormhelpteam.org. Scott says often that when you're communicating with, an insurance company, don't get nuts. Don't start screaming. And in your letter, your correspondence with love and kisses, you. And he said that on the first show, and then he said it a couple of times thereafter, and I started picking up on it. And it kind of became a behind-the-scenes thing. Like, we would hold up a sign going, he just said it, ding. So we said, it would be cool, funny, if he made up some T-shirts that have the slogan on it. So he did, is sending them. So if you get on today, we're going to do questions for shirts. So if you got a question, you'll not only get a stupendous answer, but you'll get a beautiful, glorious, fantastic shirt along with the prize. Let's go to Jim. Jim, you're up with Scott Major. Go ahead, sir.
Good morning. I've been recommended to actually come down there and talk to you, but I hadn't had time. My question is, my wife has had the same patio home, small home, 2-bedroom, for about 27 years. And when we got down there with the insurance company under the tent and they folded it open and I got to look at it, they have been charging her $180,000 on a $180,000 insurance policy. Her house has never cost that much, brand new. It is worth it's a small patio home. They're like $85,000. And she's been paying this for all these years and has not realized it.
So she's paid insurance for a $180,000 home, even though she has an $80,000 home. Do I understand that correctly?
Yep. And I about popped the court. We haven't said anything to the insurance company because I wanted to talk to someone like you before we said anything. But they have been a pretty good insurance company for what we've needed. Our house still isn't rebuilt because we've been helping other people, but we started working on it. And that just doesn't seem kosher. I mean, the house, I got to say, the house, I couldn't sell that house today for $75,000. They're all connected. They're all worth the same in the little association that they're in. And that's how much her insurance policy says she's been paying for over 20 years.
Here's my suggestion. Step one. First, get a hold of the person who sold you the insurance. That's the insurance agent or the insurance broker. Ask them why it is that they secured insurance for you that wasn't appropriate or was overstated, and ask them to refund you the difference in the money that would have been for buying an $80,000 policy versus $180 if they don't provide you with a suitable explanation. Step 2, if you're unsuccessful with that, call us at 844-800-LAWS. Send us the insurance policy and the little chronology you just mentioned, and we'll take a look at that and give you some advice on what options you have when you have some other options to pursue, or whether or not the insurance company needs to make the immediate payment of $80,000 or however much money you have in a valid claim against the insurance company. So step 1 is find out more intelligence about why your expert, your agent, decided to sell you an insurance policy that would never pay the total amount that you needed because it was double the amount that you had on the value of the house. And then, if you're not successful, get a hold of us. Make sense?
Well, you know, I figure that he's probably croaked by now, whoever wrote it out that long ago. And,
well, whether
the policy has changed hands.
Sure.
And the other thing is,
whether it's him as an agent
they're insuring me for $180,000 on that house, should they not pay for upgrades up to $180,000?
Well, sure. And again, depends on the terms of your policy, but if you have $180,000 of coverage, you're entitled to $180,000 of payments. So the answer is you may have code upgrade or law and ordinance or other types of coverages that provide more payment to you, but it's hard in the abstract, not seeing your specific policy, to know how much money you would be entitled to. But if you would like, you can either call the agent or the brokerage or the person who sold to you, or you can call us, or you can call both in whatever order you want. And I think you'll get answers if you call either one of us.
Scott Major, more questions to come. Got an open phone line, 850-233-9988. We will return momentarily. Stand by.
This is Kramer. NewsTalk at 101. And now, your local news from News 13. Panhandle Strong.
Last week, the Bay County Sheriff's used online investigating to break open a sex operation. The Bay County Sheriff's Office set out to catch prostitutes and the men who were soliciting them for sex using a website to communicate. Investigators used the same site for their operation, and 8 people were arrested. Every person arrested will face initial misdemeanor charges, but more charges could be added. A deputy went to a house in Alford yesterday after a report there was possibly a wanted person there. The suspect, William Howard, went onto the roof of the home when the deputy arrived. As more deputies arrived on scene, they tried to talk Howard down from the roof, but he refused to get down. Deputies went onto the roof and tased him. Howard was able to get free and fell off the roof. On Panama City's information station, News Talk at 101, I'm Chris Marchand for News 13's Panhandle Strong.
Now the News 13 forecast.
Temperatures are mild again this morning with mid to upper 50s across the Panhandle. Patchy fog has developed mainly over coastal areas as well as a few inland spots with mostly clear skies and calm wind. Fog will dissipate quickly this morning with winds increasing from the south around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Highs will also remain near 10 to 15 degrees above average in the mid 70s to near 80 this afternoon. From News 13, home of Live Viper Radar, I'm meteorologist Sam Lucy. On Panama City's information station, News Talk at 101.
We have Rick and Bubba from 9 till noon. 9 till noon.
You need to get together with your own Catholic people because I get in trouble if I call you the domination. I can't win with you people. Okay? I mean, if I call the Catholics a domination of the Christian faith, we're not a domination, we're the real church. Well, then if I turn around and say, well, now the Catholic Church has their act together and the rest of the churches should follow, you say we're not Christians? I can't win with you. Can y'all just figure out who you are and be clear? I'm trying to pass along a compliment.
Rick and Bubba, 9 till noon on News Talk at 101.
I'm Jeff Cherry with Cherry Wealth Advisors. And one of the most common questions I hear today is, do I have enough money to retire? You've worked all your life to live your retirement dream, travel, spend more time with the family, or maybe just go fishing. But many people today still worry about whether their retirement savings will last not only their lifetime, but their spouse's lifetime. If you are retired or near retirement and you do not have a written income plan in place, or you're concerned with running out of money before running out of life, call me today. The number's very simple. My last name, Cherry, and the number 9. That's Cherry 9. Or 243-7799. Or visit us online at cherrywealthadvisors.com. Be retirement ready with Cherry Wealth Advisors.
Investment advisory services offered through Cherry Wealth Advisors, an SEC registered investment advisor.
Laughter is the measurement of happiness and the fireworks of the soul. Come join Charlie Legend at House of Bourbon and fuel your laughter with a comedy show Valentine's Day, February 14th. The doors will be open at 7:30 p.m. and the show starts at 8:30. Tickets are $20 in advance or $25 at the door. Come out and get your laugh on with Jawan Cap, Don Garrett, Christian Johnson, and enjoy intermission with DJ Earthang Gucci. House of Bourbon, located at the top of the beautiful historic shrimp boat, 1201 Beck Avenue.
I'm Harvey Massey. Where we live, there are several types of termites, and they can all cause damage to your home. Subterranean termites invade from colonies below the ground, while drywood termites fly in and infest exposed wood in your home. Both require different treatments. That's why you need Massey's Total Coverage Termite Protection. Our guarantee covers all types of termites and includes coverage for retreatment and repair of any new damage. That's Massey Services. Expect more and get it.
Together, we can turn a stairwell into an ER at a moment's notice. Together, we can turn a rescue ship for refugees into a maternity ward. Together, we can vaccinate 710,000 people in just 11 days. Together, we are Doctors Without Borders. Doctors Without Borders goes where others don't to provide life-saving medical care. Learn more at doctorswithoutborders.org.
This is a cow whose milk became everyone's favorite cheese at the craft fair. But cheese only lasts so long. The impression a small business makes needs to last much longer. That's why Vistaprint is offering 500 truly personalized business cards starting at $9.99. Choose from hundreds of fresh designs tailored to your type of company, or upload your own. The choice is yours. The time is now. Get 500 business cards starting at $9.99 with promo code 3838. That's promo code 3838 at Vistaprint.com. Vistaprint. Own the now.
The Kramer Show. 6 to 9 weekdays on NewsTalk at 101.1.
7:35. Every Tuesday and Thursday, we do this with Scott Major. We do an hour, 7 to 8. You get to call up and ask him any kind of legal question that's on your mind. The phone number to get through and do that is 850-233-9988. Their website is stormhelpteam.org. Let's do some phones. Let's go to Nancy. You're up with Scott Major, Nancy. Hello.
Hello. I have a question. We're considering paying off our mortgage with the amount that was given to, or that we got from the insurance company, which will not cover all the damage to the house. But we're considering using that and paying off the mortgage. Can we do that and still have an open claim?
The answer is that you have the right to recover all of the monies that are due under your contract. Whatever you do with those monies is entirely up to you. There are some regulations within your mortgage documents and occasionally within your insurance policy that will tell you that you have restrictions. For example, a mortgage company might say you have to rebuild the property or you have to take the money and use it for those resources. But most mortgage companies will happily, in lieu of that, take that money to pay down your mortgage. So generally speaking, you are making a contract with the insurance company to be paid money, not to fix your property, but to be paid money, which presumably most people will use for their house, but are not required to do so. Now, some insurance companies, in order to ensure that people don't take the money and not fix their house, they will sometimes, either have contractual language in or will say, we have vendors who are going to help you fix it and we're going to pay those vendors directly. But other than restrictions that are provided by a contract, you are entitled to take those monies and do with them as you please.
Okay, and if we were approved for an SBA loan, would that affect any of that?
No. Loans which you take out from the SBA have no impact whatsoever on your contractual rights to recover money under an insurance contract.
Okay. I appreciate that. I think you got it.
Sure, anytime. Have a great day, okay?
Thank you. You as well.
All right, Nancy, thank you very much. Oh, shoot. Did we get her information for the shirt? I forgot. Nancy, call back. We'll just need to get a phone number and some basic information for the shirt. Hey, I got a question for you. Let's say that you're a renter and you've had windows blown out and your fence is demolished and there's some other things around the house that have not been taken care of. And when you call the landlord, he just tells you that, well, we're on a list. Here we're 4 months out, and there are people that don't have their windows replaced, that don't have their fences replaced, that don't have this and that. What course of action should someone in that situation take?
There are a number of different options available to you. First, a landlord has certain duties to create habitability, that is, to create a place that you are safe and secure in under the terms of your lease, and you should look at your lease to determine what kind of responsibilities the landlord has, and usually they'll use a form which will also have information in that says they have to have the house or home or condo in working order.
Right.
The second thing is there is stuff that occurs inside your home that is subject to your renter's policy. You certainly can get recovery for. But I recommend anybody who has a landlord who is not getting paid to call them and tell them to call us. Because if there is a remedy and you can recover insurance money, there's just no reason in the world why the landlord wouldn't have an interest in getting that money, making that property in better condition when it's coming out of the insurance proceeds and is pursuant to a insurance contract they properly paid for. So step one, find out under your lease what kind of requirements the landlord has, and then write them and tell them that. There's also statutory requirements under Chapter 83. Step two, contact the landlord and tell them, listen, not only are there some responsibilities here, but let me know what your problem is, because we'll call Scott Major on the phone. It's free to call him, and maybe he can help you to get that money faster to make the property look better. And if there's some reason why you don't want it to look better, just let me know so I understand. And when you learn that stuff, most landlords don't want to not fix the property. They obviously want their properties to be nice so they can get the highest rent amount they can. So usually it's because they're being told, either wait on the insurance company, or they're giving information which is like now 4 months old, that we're not, paying you right now, we'll eventually pay you. Who knows what some of these people are doing, but you and I both know there are literally tens of thousands of people that have no idea that they're entitled to money, and that money right now. And in some cases, as you and I have talked about, under the statute, you may have contractual provisions in your insurance contract that may say if you don't start work within a certain set of time, okay, say you don't start work within 120 days or 180 days, you may not be able to get the replacement cost value. That means you may only get the fair market or actual value, which is a depreciated amount, if you haven't started your work within the 120 days or the 180 days, depending on your contract. And that those days obviously are coming right up, and you don't want to lose rights you would otherwise have because somebody didn't thoroughly read your insurance policy. So pay attention to those, and I think they'll help.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, too, you've got people that are paying the rent. They've been paying their rent the whole time, and the rent has not gone down. But yet you got broken windows. You got, like I said, the fence. You've got things that are roof problems. In that situation, I guess there's really nothing that you can do about it until the landlord repairs it. Right? You're kind of at their mercy.
Well, yes, you are in some senses, but again, if your contract provides, they have to provide a certain habitability, and under the statutes they do, and the habitability is being infected, then you can make a claim, that you shouldn't have to pay rent, or in some cases you can break a lease. Now, you may not want to do that. There's a decision you have to make as the renter, but if you're looking to find another place because this place isn't appropriate, you can absolutely put them on notice that they are not maintaining the premises in the way in which the contract required them to. And if they don't correct those payments with the next time, you're going to, break the lease, or you're going to sue them for breach. And, you can recover attorney's fees if you're successful. And it should be relatively easy for you to prove that if people are leaving roofs wide open and windows broken and there's no repairs that are being made or anything being attempted. And no landlord wants to waste money either when they can resolve differences between their landlords.
Interesting. So the tenant can sue for breach of contract and get out of the lease, and then may be entitled to some money on that front.
That's correct. And so, obviously you want to try to work it out, and hopefully you can communicate with your landlord and say, hey, listen, if you're not getting money to fix the property, hey, turn on the radio, call Major, call Kramer, call Kramer's wife, call somebody, help you, and they'll give you some good insight, and probably get you your money really soon. I mean, the amount of claims that we're able to resolve when we get involved is geometrically enhanced. I mean, that's just reality. If I start filing lawsuits, we're going to get money. Now, obviously, if he doesn't even have an estimate of damages, or he doesn't have the proper documentation, it may take longer for us to prepare the claim. But if you have suitable estimates done, and you have the insurance estimate done, and you have the proper documentation, you should be able to ask the insurance company why they're not paying you. And probably you'll get a good explanation. Either one, here's your check, or two, here's the reasons why we're not paying. You didn't provide this document. We're missing a photograph. We need more receipts, et cetera, and you'll get more clarity on why it is they're not paying. Remember, when an insurance company does an estimate and tells you those are the damages, those are considered, quote, the undisputed damages. And that gives rise to the insurance company's duty to pay you if they believe that those are the damages. What possible reason could they have to not pay you what they've admitted are the damages? They may not want to pay more than that, but they certainly can't pay less than that. So if you've been given an estimate and you haven't been paid, you should be calling me an hour ago, because that's a pretty strong case. So you need to pay attention to that. And again, you and I have talked about this. You just need experts to educate you and to take this nightmare away from you and to fight for you no matter how short or long it takes.
850-233-9988. Let's go to some phones. Let's do Carolyn. You're up with Scott Major. Go ahead, Carolyn.
Good morning. My question is, we have a mortgage through actually the bank is local here, but, their servicing is obviously somewhere else. But we took our 2 insurance checks that we received back on the 8th of December to the bank and deposited them on the 10th because they were written out to us and the mortgage company. And we have not been able to get them to release any of the funds for us to do any of the repairs on our own. Now, I understand that we have to have a licensed contractor to do our roof or any kind of structural damages that we had. But as far as panels that blew off our barn or our fencing, we had like $14,000 worth of fencing damage. We're the ones that installed all the fencing. The few pieces of sheetrock that need to be replaced and insulation we obviously could do, and painting, etc. Things like that we actually were the ones that installed our flooring. And the bank, every time we get on the phone to talk to the man that is in charge in that department, he says that we need to send him the receipts from a licensed contractor only for them to release the funds. Now, with our roof, we've had somebody assigned and set up to replace our roof for months. And they have not even released any of the funds for us to even pay the deposit for the roof to be replaced. And, of course, the company wants 10% up front. So when I get on the phone with them, what would you suggest I say?
Sure. So people are facing this situation a lot when they have a mortgage on their house. So step one, you need to pull out your mortgage documents, because in the mortgage documents themselves, it will specifically say what the mortgage company can and can't do. It might say in there that they will monitor the rebuild. They may say they will make the distributions based on you providing them with certain documents. You want to find out exactly what your mortgage documents say. If you have any confusion about them, you can ask this wonderful bank manager, in person, to show you where in the documents it provides for them to withhold money arbitrarily. The second thing is, while it is reasonable for a mortgage company, for example, to ensure that you have a proper licensed person, if you do have a roofer who's willing to do the work and they're licensed, then there is absolutely no ground whatsoever for the mortgage company to withhold the money. And you need to start your letter writing campaign of explaining that you have had a roofer on board for X number of days or weeks or months. You have spoken to them in person on the following days, and that you are ready to proceed. And every day that they wait, they are causing you extreme emotional distress. And if they have any legal grounds for not releasing the money, they need to tell you within 3 days, or you're going to sue them, either for breach of contract, for civil theft, for fraud. There's a bunch of different options there. But most of the time, they'll release the money. But a lot of banks they don't have this system set up well. They don't know how to manage rebuilds, because banks are in the business of that. Banks are in the business of lending money and borrowing money. So they're really not set up for this. So you have to put pressure on them, but you have to put pressure on them by writing them and documenting those things. If you have a lack of success in doing that, call us. We'll help you to either draft a letter or give you some offline advice about the specific things you should say, so that you can make sure you set them up for a report to the state. Because remember, they're governed by their own banking regulations that are set forth in the state and federal rules. They can't steal your money or use it and deposit in their bank and be making interest on it while you're a prisoner and a hostage suffering. There are legal rights you have, both on the state and federal level, and I would take advantage of those.
Okay, well, I do really appreciate that. It is.
Call us anytime if you have any problems. The 844-800 laws number is available all the time, 7 days a week, and it's a great resource if you're unsure of what to do, or you just need reaffirmation, or you've tried some things and you need somebody to look at a letter, or you want somebody to pursue your claim. Whatever it is, we're trying to do everything we can to help people like you, ease the pain and move forward with the rebuilding process.
All right. Well,
Carolyn,
thank you very much. We do appreciate you.
Hang on 1 second, because we want to get some information about the about you, so we can give you the shirt. So hold on 1 second. More to come in a second, too. 850-233-9988. 850-233-9988. Again, Scott Major this morning, 844-800-LAWS to contact him. Be right back.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll be back right after these important messages. This is the Kramer Show on NewsTalk at 101.
I'm sending love and kisses on the telephone wire. I hope he gets
754. Hugs and kisses you. Scott Major with us. To contact Scott off the air, and like you just said, he wants to help. You can call 844-800-LAWS. 844-800-LAWS. Scott Major. That's your theme song. I keep meaning to. I'm doing that today. Rachel, remind me. I'm gonna make his intro with that. Phones are open. Let's go to James. James, you're up with Scott Major. Hello.
Hello, Kramer. How you doing?
Hey, super.
So I just want to say I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller, and I want to thank you guys for all the information you've been throwing out there. It's been super helpful.
I'm glad.
I do have a question, though. I have a friend who is renting. He had some damage to his house. The landlord has been fixing the damages, but there's still a tree that's leaning over the house. It hasn't fallen yet, but in these windstorms that have happened, he's a little nervous that it might. And I was looking through the Florida statutes, and I was trying to find out what is reasonable or unsafe conditions that the landlord has to fix, and I was getting lost. Just was looking for some assistance.
There are statutes in Florida, such as Florida Statute 83.51, and 83.51 says that the landlord has an obligation to maintain the premises, and within that obligation includes them to comply with building and housing and health codes, and it also requires them to maintain like mobile homes and other structures. And you also want to look at, things like, and I'll just list some off so you understand, they have to like exterminate rats and mice and things like that. They have to keep the condition clean and safe, and there has to be garbage removal and outside receptacles and functioning facilities for heat and water and electrical and things like that. But the majority of that is also controlled by your lease. So you need to look at your lease and see what it says. But as a general rule, if there is a problem, for example, this leaning over tree that you're concerned about, they should write the landlord and say, listen, I believe that this is a safety hazard. I'm concerned about being injured from this or it causing other problems. Be greatly appreciated if you would have this removed, or explain to me why it is that you're not going to remove it, so that you have some documentation showing that. But potential conditions are more difficult to succeed on because it's hard to say how likely it is that, for example, a tree is going to fall. Now, if they were to go out and get a tree guy or somebody who was an expert to say, listen, I've determined, and I'll write you a little letter, that says that this tree is rotted or it's in a position where it is impossible for it not to fall in, that certainly would help you in terms of forcing the landlord to remove that tree, or having them call their insurance company and tell them there is imminent damage to occur. We don't want the tree to fall in the house, and then it's triple the damages. Why don't you remove the tree for $500 or $1,000 instead of paying $8,000 for the roof?
Right. James, you sit tight. We're going to get some information on the shirt. 844-800-LAWS. Phenomenal hour in the book, Scott Major. As always, my friend, thank you so much for being with us today.
Hey, thanks for all you do, pal. We appreciate it, and I'll talk to you soon.
You got it. Be safe. Have a good rest of your week and into the weekend. More to come. Stand by.
This man, he is the king.
The Kramer Show will be back on News Talk at 101.